So the British legacy in the Indian policing. So the present practice policing is based on Indian Police Act of 1861, Imperial Police of 1905. So Indian Police Act continue to exist even today. Imperial Police after independence became Indian Police Service. And also the present system of criminal justice system. So these are three things that continue to influence the present Indian police administration. The present police administration is characterized by the previous practices introduced by the British. See, up to 1857-58, Sepoy Mutiny. So this Sepoy Mutiny was the watermark in the Indian history, particularly in the police administration and the legal administration. And the Sepoy Mutiny, before this 1857, there was military police. So this military police means military performing police functions. That is, there is no distinction between police and military. Military is fundamentally concerned with the defense functions. Police is related to the law and order functions, public order functions, dealing with the civilians. But however, there was no such distinction maintained before 1857. And because of this failure to maintain a distinction, the Sepoy Mutiny has arisen. There was no possibility for the British government to control the Sepoy Mutiny. And as a result, after this Sepoy Mutiny, this has led to the result of this is (1860) Indian Police Indian Penal Code and 1861 Indian Police Act. So these two legislations were a consequence of the Sepoy Mutiny. And there has been a gradual codification of the laws. The administrative practices after 1857 were gradually changed after shifting the administration from East India Company to the British Crown. So it was believed that one of the reasons for Sepoy mutiny absence of political control over the military police and there was no regulation over the Indian personnel in the military. The fundamental issues associated with the Sepoy mutiny, the basic aspects. So as a result of these two issues, a new Indian Police Act was required. So they created a criminal justice system. Based on the experience of the Sepoy mutiny, a criminal justice system was created. Criminal justice system is separation of powers in relation to criminal justice. So how this separation of powers in relation to the criminal justice? Separation of police, magistracy, and prisons. Police would be responsible to investigating the crimes. And they catch the culprit, they catch the accused, and they interrogate. Investigation, catching hold of the accused and interrogate the accused. Then the charge sheet. Charge sheeting means filing the case. Then they go to the magistrate. Magistrate means judiciary, the court. Court will trial the case and they give the judgment, and in the judgment they impose punishment. And when the punishment is imposed, the prison would be responsible to execute the punishment. So the three activities should not be centralized in one hand. They're supposed to be separated from each other. So police would be investigating the crime, interrogating the accused, and charge sheeting the accused. Charge sheeting means filing a case in the court with the accusations made against the accused. So when the charge sheet is filed, the case will be tried and the court will give the judgment and will impose the punishment based on the judgment. And this judgment is implemented and executed by the prisons. So the three activities are separated. They are not done by the same person. Suppose before 1857, a culprit who is accused would be caught by the police and tried by the police and punished by the police only. Because it's a kind of not an ordinary court of system, not an ordinary judicial system. So it's like a court martial. Police were also having the powers of a court martial. So as I told you in the previous class, the government apparatus, state apparatus, should be separated into three agencies. That is military, police and the civil service. But there was no such distinction before 1857. An employee in the government was performing any function. A government employee before 1857 may be either used for the civil service administration or can be employed as a police or can be used as a military personnel. So when such distinction does not exist, police can perform all the three activities by themselves. But a democracy would require the separation of powers of criminal justice. Rendering the justice would be perfect only when there is a classification of the institutions into three agencies. Classification of the institutions implementing the criminal justice system. There should be a separate agency for interrogation, crime investigation, another agency for trialing the case, and another agency for the execution of the punishment. Same agency is not doing all the three work. Different agencies are required. Just like at the broader level, we have legislature, executive and judiciary. At the micro level, the separation in the criminal justice system exists. And this separation of the criminal justice system into police, judiciary and the prisons came into existence after the 1857 Sipahi Mutiny through the Indian Police Act. So therefore, even after almost 170 years, the same kind of Indian Police Act continued to exist in India since 1861. Though there are demands for the reform of the 1861 Indian Police Act, still the same Indian Police Act continued to exist in India because of this kind of democratic requirements, democratic conditions fulfilled here. So based on this dimension of the criminal justice, so how the police operates. So the police has a kind of duality of command. So this is not a unity of command. In the classical theory, we discussed about the unity of command. So the unity of command means an employee has to receive commands only from one superior. But in the Indian Police Act, there is a duality of command. So whereby a police officer receives commands from two bosses. That is, one is political boss and a bureaucratic boss. Political superior. Political boss means that is the Home Minister. So under the control of the Home Minister, the police would be operating. Bureaucratic line of command. So in the bureaucratic line of command, there will be DGP, and below that there is IG, and Deputy Inspector General, and there are SP, and there is ASP. So that is the bureaucratic line of command. So below the ASP, again there would be further officers. State Police Chief is the DGP, Director General of Police, Inspector General of Police, Deputy Inspector of General of Police, then Superintendent of Police at the district level. At the sub-district level, you have ASP. Below the ASP, there is Circle Inspector, and there are Sub-Inspector, Assistant Sub-Inspector, then there is Head Constable and Constable. So that is the line of command. And apart from this, in fact, there is another line of command whereby in the bureaucratic line of command, civil administration also will be there as a controlling system over the police. Civil administrative control. So that is district collector regulates the district police administration. In fact, that is the district magistrate. District magistrate would be responsible to regulate district administration of the police. So why this kind of duality of command is required? So what is visible is professional police, controlled by the political executive and professional boss and district magistrate. Civil administrator. So this political executive is the Home Minister at state level. Professional boss is the DGP at the line of command. at state level. Civil administrator, district magistrate, at the district level. So Home Minister at the state level, DGP at the line of professional command, district magistrate at the district level. So this is how the police administration is framed. Why this is necessary? Why such different types of control is required? So political control is necessary at the state level. This is all needed. The line of command at the state and at the district level. All this is required to regulate the police, to prevent misuse of powers by the police, and to avoid any future revolt against this state by the police, and to inculcate professionalism in the police, and to respect democratic institutions, and to create accountability on part of the police. So when this is the arrangement, the purpose of this arrangement of creating a police being controlled at every level by the political system, by the professional system, and by the civil administration. So the overall district state police is under the control of the political executive. Political executive, it is under the Home Minister. And professionally, the state police hierarchy is anyway regulated by the DGP. And at the district level, the entire district police is answerable to district magistrate, that is the district collector. So this is necessary to prevent any misuse of powers by the police. Because suppose at the district level, we have around 750 districts in the country across the 28 states and 6 union territories. And the district police is under the control of the SP. If SP is not made answerable to the district collector, so what will happen? Possibility is the SP may declare a war against, or the SP may declare independence, autonomy in the district administration. Because suppose if there are 500 policemen under his control, and all these policemen will have the weapons, lethal weapons, and he can take control over the district administration, he can declare himself a sovereign. So to avoid that possibility of misappropriation of authority, whatever the SP has to do, he should be answerable to the district magistrate. He has to take the permission every time from the district magistrate, even to open fire also. He has to open the fire against at a mob, need to take the permission from the collector. And annual police report is supposed to be presented by the SP, annual district police report. is formulated by the SP and submitted to the collector. And the collector will forward the annual police report to the state administration. SP is not supposed to give the annual police report of the district directly to the state government. It should come only through the district collector. So everywhere there is a check and balance. And to avoid any possibility of revolution, again the repetition of what happened in 1857, to avoid that kind of repetition, the 1857 kind of revolt, there is a need for such a control at every location, and to inculcate a sense of professionalism in the administration, and thereby to respect the democratic institutions, because in a democracy, political executive should be the highest, should occupy the highest position, whether it is a civil administration or military administration or the police administration. The Prime Minister is a political executive, and the Prime Minister is the political head of the civil service. The entire civil service is under the political head of the Prime Minister, and you cannot question the political supremacy of the executive. And at the state level, the Chief Minister is the political head of the police, and under the Chief Minister directly, the political executive, the police system is controlled by the Home Minister. They are all the representatives of the people, and just because you are a professional, you cannot question the representative of the people. It's a democracy, and in a democracy, a bureaucrat or a police or a military must work under political executive only. Just because you are trained and you are aware of some subjects, you cannot assume yourself as intelligent. Prime Minister is more intelligent than you. Chief Minister is much more intelligent than you. Home Minister is larger intelligent than you. You think that you are intelligent. This is where you are not intelligent. If somebody thinks that I am intelligent, he is a fool. And civil servants think that they are intelligent, but they are fools. If he is intelligent, he should rule the system. But what he is doing, he is just made a subordinate by the political executive. Every employee in every organization will think the same thing. The employees think that I am more intelligent than the boss. Since you are a fool, you are working under the boss, though the boss is illiterate. So intelligence is different, literacy is different. Intelligence is that where you have the capacity to control the people. That is the intelligence. But not literacy, but not education. Education is different, intelligence is different. You confuse between intelligence and the education. So an illiterate person, Bill Gates was like an illiterate person because he was a school dropout. So was he not a school dropout? After 7th class, he did not continue his study. Then he established his company, and he hired a lot of professionals in the company, thousands of professionals in the company. And every professional thinks that he knows more subject than Bill Gates. Of course, you know more subject than Bill Gates. But who is intelligent? Gateman or gatekeeper? Gateman, the owner of the gate, that is the Bill Gate, is actually the intelligent. And the employees, the professional, though they are well educated, though they know more subject, they are not intelligent, they are just educated. Therefore, they are working under him. So that is the kind of situation, same kind of situation exists in the police administration also, or in the civil service administration as well. Civil servant respecting the democracy, police have to respect the democracy, and they have to be submissive to the political executive. And political executive is a representative of the people, and therefore such a system created by the British government in 1861 in the experience of the 1857-58 Sepoy Mutiny is well democratic system, a well orchestrated system of policing, and therefore it has inculcated a sense of professionalism also. If possible, you can read the 1861 Indian Police Act. It is just a 20-page document. So this document talks about all the elements of the professionalism in the police administration. How to enhance the professionalism in the police administration. So this professionalism will be inculcated in the police. What is the professionalism? Several times I told you in the earlier classes. Professionalism means doing your job as prescribed by the job rules. If you do the job according to your job role, then that you are a professional. If you take anything personal, you are not a professional. Usually we fail in our job when we go personal. Suppose if there is a thief, the thief has to follow certain principles of professionalism. If he fail to follow those principles of professionalism and he goes personal, then he will be caught. So what is the professional principles to be followed by the thief? His role, what is his job role? He has to just steal the things. And he has to make rules for himself. There is no boss for him, but he has to make rules for himself. So he has to break into a home and take all the necessary goods which are required. And if you go anything wrong, if going wrong in the job performance means if you go personal, then that will damage your future, your career. There was a story recently I happened to read in the newspaper, in the local newspaper, Enadu newspaper, that a thief broke into a home. And after stealing everything, he went into the kitchen room and he found a delicious biryani over there. He started eating the biryani and meanwhile he was caught. So what is actually his expected job role? Only stealing the things, not eating the things. But when he breached these rules, then there was a problem. Suppose there was a Hollywood movie called Transporter. In this Transporter, he is a smuggler. He smuggled the things, illegal things. And he keeps certain rules like if some package is given to him, he just has to transport professionally to the necessary destination. He should not open the package given by the supplier before it is being supplied to the necessary person, concerned person. This is the rule that he fixes. If as long as he followed this rule, he was professional and he was not having any problem. He was earning a lot of money. But once he breaks this rule by himself, he falls into the problems. Similarly, police have some professional rules. When these professional rules, as long as they are observed by the police, they will not face any trouble. But when they break these professional rules, when they go personal into anything, then they face the troubles. What are the troubles that usually police will face? The troubles is nothing but the criticism. There are rules of, suppose, firing. First, when you have to open a fire against the people, you have to take the permission from the collector. After taking the permission from the collector, then you have to fire into the air. Then you have to fire in the feet, then in the knees, then below the thigh. And finally, you have to shoot, even if after following all these conditions, if the culprit is not stopping, then you have to fire in the heart. But when these rules are broken, then the police will attract the criticism by the people. Whenever the police are attracting the criticism, these are the situation. Yesterday there was a news in the newspaper that an incident from Karnataka. An IAS officer, a lady IAS officer and an IPS officer was in a war of words between them. This is the unprofessional behavior. Being an IPS officer, what you have to do? You have to be a subordinate to the IAS officer. Of course, as an IPS officer, you may be more intelligent than the IAS. But being a professional, you are subordinate to the IAS officer. Suppose these two people might have been the roommates during their preparation. And the person who got IAS would have taken the Xerox copies of notes from this person who got IPS. But that doesn't matter that doesn't mean that IPS will be superior. IPS is always subordinate to the IAS because it was created in 1861. That arrangement was created 1861 only. IAS has to be superior to IPS. IPS has to be responsible to the IAS. And this IPS and IAS both are responsible to the political executive. So this is the hierarchy. Political executive, minister, then IAS and IPS. So this is the hierarchy of relationship in the profession, the police activity. So ultimately, though IPS is at the bottom, what the IPS has to follow, they have to, both these IAS and IPS have to respect the minister. IPS has to respect the minister and the IAS officer. Respecting means it is not a personal respect. It is a respect to the chair. Respecting the chair means the profession, the job. You are respecting not the person. You are respecting the job. That system was created 170 years ago and time-tested system and continue to exist even today is because it's a democratic system and it's a professional system, unquestionable system. Even if there is a reform in the police administration, this mechanism will not be changed. The same mechanism will continue to exist. The fundamental mechanism of political executive being the boss over the police and the civil administrator, that is the district collector who is an IAS officer or a district magistrate, would be the district police chief, district head of the law and order, district head of the law and order, and district police chief will be the SP. This is a kind of a hierarchy created so that in the future there will be no possibilities of any kind of repetition of the incidents like 1857 Sipahi mutiny. So because of this arrangement, police never agitated against the government. Police never could not agitate against the civil administration. Of course, nothing will be unproblematic. There are certain problems in the system also, and which are supposed to be reformed. So something like artificial intelligence is there. People say that artificial intelligence is foolish thing. It is artificial but not intelligent. So why it is not intelligent? Because it operates only according to the program that you give. But it is here to stay and we have to live with the artificial intelligence. And they say that artificial intelligence is a biased system. Don't you think that the human beings are biased? When you are making the artificial intelligent machine on par with the man, on par with the human being, so it will inculcate the same kind of senses as the human being, right? So when it is inculcating the same kind of senses as the human being, it will have the same kind of bias as the human being. They say that artificial intelligence is racist and sexist. Because when a question is asked to chatbots, who is the most intelligent scientist in the world? It listed only the male scientists, that too white scientists. Because 99% of the Nobel Prize laureates, they were all male and whites. So when it is giving such kind of list, of course there are a couple of, a score of female scientists are also there. Nobel laureates are also there. But it is just in scores, that's all, not in hundreds, right? So when that is the kind of situation, according to the available information, it has given the list of only the male white scientists. Even all of a sudden somebody asks you to list out the names of the scientists that you know. Who do you tell? What will be the names? It would be definitely, the first name would be a male person name. If you ask me immediately, I would talk about Einstein because I don't know more than Einstein. And you can say, and you can't say that I am a sexist, I am a racist. Because the only knowledge that I have is Einstein. Very frequently we come across only this name. So whatever we remember, we talk about that name. Just because I said Einstein and I have not quoted anything about the female scientists, do I become sexist or do I become anti-Indian? Because I am not talking about the Indian scientists. I spoke only about the foreign scientists. So you may also say that I am an anti-Indian. Just because that I have spoken as something. Similarly, everything will be having certain problems. When human being is having certain biases, machines definitely will have the bias. I told you the example of a robot, artificial intelligent robot, which has broken the finger of a boy who is playing chess with that. This is the bias. When this boy was not playing fairly, what that robot was told, not to break the finger, but the robot was told to programmed to prevent that person, the opponent, from playing wrong steps. The boy was taking a wrong game, playing a wrong game, so it was prevented. And meanwhile, the boy met with an accident. So artificially intelligent robot, it is intelligent, maybe intelligent, but it may not have the human touch. But we cannot avoid that in the future. Even the government of India in the 2023 budget has made a proposal for a digital governance strategy, digital governance policy, a digital governance policy and data governance policy. So far we had e-governance, and hereafter we will be having data governance. More data would be mined by the government. With the mining of the more data, there will be more focus on the artificial intelligence, robotics, 3D printing and mechatronics. So with the focus on these things, the government is giving more focus to this artificial intelligence and other things. Just because it is biased, just because it is breaking the fingers, you cannot avoid that. As I told you in the earlier class also, that the military is also equipped with artificially intelligent weapons, which operate themselves autonomously, something like a Tyros, a weapon like Tyros. All the drones, suppose, pilotless drones are. And drones are operated by the artificial intelligence. And can we avoid using the drones? We cannot avoid the usage of the drones. And in the future, we will be having driverless cars. And there will be a possibility of accidents with the driverless cars. Just because there are accidents, do we avoid the driverless cars? Because even when the human being is driving the cars, he is also committing the accidents. On an average, annually, 1,70,000 people are being killed in the last year in the road accidents. Who committed this 1,70,000 accidents? Means for every 18 minutes there was one accident. Who committed this? If you divide 1,70 divided by 365, it comes to 360. For every 18 minutes, one accident. One person is being killed. The number of accidents, people killed in the accidents is larger than the number of people killed in the natural disasters or killed in the terrorist activities. Or in the, even COVID could not kill so many people. COVID could only kill how many people in India? Maximum 80,000 people. But in the accident, road accidents, 1,70,000, 70 lakh people have been killed. Who committed all these accidents? Driverless car or driven cars? Self-driven cars, people-driven cars. And it will minimize the accidents, in fact, when artificial intelligence is incorporated in the driverless cars. Not only the cars, even in the trucks also, driverless technology will be implemented. Buses also will be fitted with the driverless intelligence. So that will, to the maximum extent, will reduce the accidents. And 1 or 2 accidents may happen because of the failure of the artificial intelligence mechanism. 1 or 2 happens, as it is being happened with the human beings also. The same manner, just because there are problems, you cannot avoid artificial intelligence. In the police system also, you cannot avoid the police. Just because there are certain stray incidents of where the police are breaching the human rights because of the existing model. They are under the political control, political influence. These are the things usually people will talk about. The intelligence lies in not scrapping the existing system, but reforming the existing system. So there is a need for reform, the reform of the British legacy in the Indian police. So what are the issues in the British legacy? The problems associated with the British legacy of police administration. Political intervention is one problem. There is a dominance of civilian administration, lack of professionalism, and absence of autonomy. So these issues are not in the Police Act. The Act itself is not problematic. The Act is very well written, which is having which can be applicable even for the next 1000 years also. The Act was made in such a professional terminology that was enacted in 1861, would be having relevance even in the 1961 and 2061 also. Even in 3061 also the Act will have the relevance. But the problem arises with the people who are actually executing it. So the people who are actually implementing the law were misusing it and manipulating it. So why the political control over the police was given? So that the police will not revolt against the government again. But what the government in power is actually doing, the people, the political executives who are in the power are actually doing is, they are manipulating the police for their personal benefit. In Maharashtra, there was a DGP who resigned from his position. After resigning from his position in 2020, I think in 2021, he made a public statement saying that I resigned because of the influence of the impact of the pressure from the Home Minister. What was the pressure that the Home Minister has imposed on him? So when I am saying Maharashtra, he is a DGP, and Maharashtra capital Mumbai. Mumbai is known for the dance bars. Girls from around the country will be brought here and they will be made to dance in the bars. And these dance bars are actually illegal. They operate, these girls will be made to dance after 11 o'clock in the night. They are all illegal. But for every 5 kilometers in Mumbai, there is one dance bar on an average. So these dance bars cannot be operated without the support of the police. But still they are illegal. So what the Home Minister has pressurized this police officer is, whatever you do, you have to bring me 100 crores per month. 100 crores of money per month. You can do anything. And generally what happens is, there will be a decentralization of the corruption in this in the police administration. Home Minister will asking the DGP to bring 100 crores. Below the DGP, there will be IGs, Inspector Generals, responsible for various regions in the state. The state is divided into 9 regions, and each region would be headed by a IGP, Inspector General of Police. So DG has to call 10 IGs under his control. And each one would be asked to bring 20 crores. So the total collection will be 200 crores. So he keep 100 crores and another 100 crores will be given to Home Minister. Then where from this IGs have to bring this money? 20 crores each. They have to order the DIG. They have to order for 30 crores or 40 crores each one. Then it would go down to which level? Constable level. Every constable would be responsible to bring 1 lakh rupees to the assistant sub inspector or to the head constable, the entire state. And where from the constable has to bring this 1 lakh rupees? Under his control within the jurisdiction. He has to go to the criminals to commit the crimes. He has to encourage the criminals to commit the crime. So they have to earn at least 10 lakhs rupees. Who has to earn the 10 lakhs rupees? Criminal has to earn 10 lakhs rupees. Out of which 1 lakh to be given to the constable. In the previous class I told you, in Bihar there was a liquor scam. Even after prohibition of the liquor in 2016, in 2022 December, 70 people were killed after consuming the illicit distillation, the illegally manufactured liquor. So police also consume this illegally manufactured liquor. With the support of the police only, they are committing these crimes. So after drinking, after having some glass of the liquor, they take away their part of the money that is to be given. So that is how the crime gangs are operating in the country with the support of the police. So the overall responsibility lies with the political executive at the state level. If the Home Minister orders the DGP to strictly maintain the law and order without expecting the money, then DGP will ask the IGs and IGs will ask the DIGs, DIGs will ask the SP and finally constable to maintain strict law and order. And the constable will crack down on the criminal gangs. So that is the thing, that is how corruption in the police administration is decentralized through the political executive. This is because manipulation of a provision in the 1861 Indian Police Act. What is that provision saying? The police have to function under the political executive. Actual objective is, it's a democratic system. In a democracy, political executive should be superior. But it is being manipulated, misappropriated, this provision, and they are misusing their authority. So this is a political intervention in the day-to-day administration. Not only the Home Ministry is intervening because of this arrangement. Apart from the Home Minister, even MLA is also intervening. In a local police station, even a corporator is also intervening in the day-to-day administration of the police system. That is one aspect. Another problem is dominance of the civil administration. The civil administration means the district collector. Domination of the district collector over the district police. So in the day-to-day administration, police are not allowed to operate autonomously. They have to take the permission of the collector for everything. Even the police stations are also supervised by the collector. Police stations are also day-to-day basis supervised by the collector. Collector, without understanding the realities of the police administration, police challenges in the day-to-day administration, will question the police personnel every time. And because the way the collector is being trained is different, and the way in which police officer is trained is different. Even informally also, suppose in the first 4 months of training, there will be foundation training, commonly for IAS, IPS and all other services. And they are all trained in Mussoorie, the National Academy of Administration. After 4 months of the foundation training, all other services will leave, including the IPS. IAS officers will remain over there. And the first lesson they will be taught is, the first thing they will be told is, all the constables have left, we now start the real training. This is how the IAS officers will be told. For the IAS officers, IPS officers are treated as the constables. So right from the day one of their training, they are inculcated with the sense of supremacy over the police, dominance over the police. So this kind of attitude is a colonial legacy that continue to exist even today. And the officers are told and the officers are trained in the same manner. And therefore, instead of coordinating with the police department, the civil administration is actually dominating over the civil administration. And this is creating a kind of conflict between the two. And the example, the latest example being the Karnataka incident, where an IPS, lady IPS officer was in a conflict with the IAS officer. And there is a lack of professionalism on part of the police. Police are not behaving professionally. They are using the powers personally. So the professionalism is lost when you use the things personally. So when you have a gun, the purpose of the intention of giving the police a gun is not to use it. But police often will use the gun to showcase their power. Showcasing the power means to display their power and domination over the people. The gun should be only in the holster. Holster means the small bag that is holding the gun in the belt. That's the holster. So it should be kept only in the holster. It should not be drawn out of the holster. But often police will use the gun to display their power. This is the most unprofessional behavior, unwanted behavior from the police. So such kind of personal display of power, abuse of the language, and recourse into the third degree kind of methods, torture method, not third degree, torture methods. Because 3 degrees, we talk about the 3 degrees. First degree means arresting someone. And second degree means that a person under the custody of the police, bringing the person under the custody. Then the third degree means keeping the accused in the police station, in this police station cell, is the third degree. And asking him various questions, interrogation. Interrogation is only asking the questions. Then generally we misunderstand the third degree as torturing. Torturing is different. First degree, arresting. Second degree, custody. Third degree, investigating and interrogating. Interrogation doesn't mean physical torture. Interrogation is only asking the questions. Suppose even Kavita was also interrogated by the CBI. Which Kavita? Daughter of KCR. Was also interrogated. Was she interrogated in the third degree? She was interrogated in the third degree only. She was not tortured. Whenever you say the interrogation, that is the third degree, that's all. Just asking the questions itself is the interrogation. And interrogation itself is the third degree, that's all. Applying the torture methods is different. There is no degree for that. So torture methods are applied as a part of the third degree, that's all. Not torture itself is not the third degree. So when you are using the torture methods, then that's a lack of professionalism. Then you may say that how to make the culprit to speak the truth. Then it is not the law, it is not the constitutional requirement that you have to beat a culprit to get him spoken, to make him spoken. Legally or constitutionally or ethically and morally, it is wrong to torture a culprit. So you have to use the scientific methods. You have to use your brain methods to make the culprit and accused to make him spoken. So whenever the police are using this personal intention in doing their job, they are losing their professionalism. Even the encountering of the people. Encounter itself is illegal. But in the newspapers, we often come across the words like illegal encounter. Encounter itself is illegal. Then what is that illegal encounter? Illegal encounter means Minus into minus plus. That is a positive encounter. There is nothing like positive encounter. Every encounter is against the law. Every encounter is supposed to be under the judicial inquiry. Every encounter must undertake a judicial inquiry. So wherever an encounter takes place, that is always illegal only. Even if it is done for a good cause ethically. Ethically it may be right. People may consider that to be right. Something like encountering the accused of Disha murder case. But people may have accepted it, but it may not be a right practice. It is definitely not a right practice. So that is how encounter is against the professionalism. It's a breach of the professional rules. Whenever the police will recourse to these kind of personal breach of laws, then that is resulting in the lack of professionalism. And absence of autonomy to the police. In the day-to-day administration, police are always under the clutches of the political control and they are under the clutches of the civil administration. They have no autonomy in the day-to-day administration. The lower level police would be controlled by the superior officers. Superior officers will be controlled by the civilian administration and also the political executive. And because of all these things, there is a need for ending the British legacy. So there is a need for ending the British legacy of the Indian police. So for this purpose, several committees and recommendations were made. So the recommendations of 1981 Police Commission, National Police Commission. Then 2005-10 Second ARC Administrative Reforms Commission, and 2006 Supreme Court judgment in Prakash Singh case. So in these three, the fundamental recommendation is to replace the 1861 Police Act with a new act and bring need for the police reforms. So what kind of police reforms are required? That is to inculcate professionalism in the police, depoliticizing the police, autonomy of the police, and making the police accountable. So they are the areas of concern in bringing the police reforms. So this commission, like National Police Commission, then in the 2005-10 Second Administrative Reforms Commission. Similarly, in 2005, again, Soli Sorabji Committee on police reforms. Soli Sorabji Committee on police reform. They were all making one recommendation that the 1861 Indian Police Act should be replaced with a new Police Act, and there should be new police reforms. So this police reform should focus on what? Inculcating a sense of professionalism in the police. So how to bring the professionalism in the police? This is by dividing the police into law and order police and crime investigating. So criminal investigation is a different task. Law and order management is a different task. This will inculcate a sense of professionalism in the police, bringing the specialization in the police. So in the present system, both the activities are performed by the same police, both law and order as well as crime investigation. Crime investigation will require some kind of detective skills. Detective skills in the sense where you need to be more rational and logical in finding a crime. Then law and order activity is a public order activity where the way the police have to deal with the mob, with the general public, with the social requirements and social dynamics also. So you cannot use the force in all the kinds of situations to deal with the mob. Suppose if there is a communal violence between the Muslims and the Hindus, or if there is a case of smuggling the cows, stealing the cows. So in case of suppose if a person has stolen the cows in a village, then the people in a mob will attack that person who is a doubtful person. Whoever is suspicious, the people will attack that person. And the people will kill that person. Now what the police have to do? When the mob has killed a suspicious person, believing that he has stolen the cows. So stealing the cows is important or killing the person is important. Which issue has to be taken by the police? You have murdered a mob has murdered a person. But this person is suspicious about stealing the cows, because cows are being stolen very largely. On an average, every year 15 lakhs cows are being stolen across the country. And they are smuggled also, smuggled to Bangladesh. And where, because in 20 states in the country, cow slaughtering is prohibited. So when cow slaughter is prohibited in 6 states, except in 6 states of the Northeast and West Bengal. In remaining all of the states, even Assam also prohibited the cow slaughter in 2021. Cow is viewed as a holy animal, and it is in fact considered to be a home of all the gods in the country, all the Hindu gods. The body of the cow is considered as a home for all the Hindu gods. 33 crores gods are there. All these are accommodated by the cow. And killing the cow means killing all the gods for the Hindus. And moreover, more important than that being a spiritual element, cow is the biggest source of income and livelihood for the people in the rural areas. Biggest source of income. So when it is the biggest source of income and somebody is stealing your source of income, will you accept it? How can you accept it? And all the people will come together, will join together in the villages. If somebody is suspicious about abducting a cow. In India, not only children are abducted, even the cows are abducted. As I told you that there is a calculation of a statistical data of 15 lakhs cows being on an average being abducted and sold in the black market. So when somebody is stealing your livelihood, how can you stop, prevent yourself from not committing a crime of killing that suspicious person? Then how the police have to take the action now? Against whom they have to register the case? So there was in this situation, whether they have to file a case of murdering this person, or whether they have to file a case of abducting a cow. So this is the confusion. Nobody can decide about it. They have to take the decision on the spot. It's a public order issue, not a criminal investigating issue, not merely a criminal investigation issue. So unless the police are trained separately between professionalism of law and order management and professionalism of the crime detection, it is not possible for the police to take a right call in a particular situation. So therefore, there is a need for inculcating a professionalism by dividing the police into law and order police and the criminal investigating police, which will require recruitment of more number of police officers. In the present, police strength is not adequate. According to the United Nations estimations, for every 135 people, there should be one police. But in India, we have for every 400 people, one police. So which is a very large gap. And unless this number of police are increased, there is no possibility to inculcate a sense of specialization into crime detection and law and order management. Then need for depoliticizing the police. So depoliticizing the police means reducing the political control over the police, which will require the establishment of a separate police board. Home Minister control over the police should be minimized. That is the depoliticization. Political executive influencing the police should be minimized. Then autonomy of the police. Police should be given autonomy in the day-to-day operations. They may be controlled in the policy matters, but in the day-to-day matters, they should be given freedom to take the action. If somebody is being, suppose, arrested, influential person is arrested, immediately the police officer will get a call not to register the FIR. So this is the day-to-day operation. Let the police use their activities, perform their activities. The people who speak about, including me, suppose, will talk about police autonomy. But when it comes to our personal life, we will influence the police with our contacts. So unless something comes to you, we will not prevent ourselves from talking about all these professional requirements. Then accountability in the police. When the police are given autonomy, at the same time they should be answerable. Autonomy should be balanced with the accountability. Suppose if they commit crime against the people, breach of human rights. So whom does the people have to lodge a complaint? Against the police. If the people have a problem, they lodge a complaint in the police. If the people have complaint against the police only, then to whom they have to complain? So an accountability machinery has to be created for the purpose within the police department first, which can undertake the independent inquiry into the complaints lodged by the people against the police. So when the police are given autonomy in a democracy, they should also be maintained accountability. Otherwise, they frequently recourse to the human rights breach. So that is the kind of reform that is required to be brought in the Indian police to make the police freed from the 160-year-old colonial legacy of Indian police system. But none of you will ask for replacing the Indian police service. Indian police service should also be actually replaced or abolished, and it should be created a separate system. But you don't support it because you are trying for the IPS. Even IPS is also a colonial legacy, right? And when IPS is a colonial legacy that was created in 1905, and the same IPS was created by the same person who was responsible for Bengal division. Who was that person responsible for Bengal division? So the same person was responsible for the creation of this. You oppose that person, but you are not opposing what is created by him. You love this action. Some people will more than love the IPS. So even IPS system should also go away, because the IPS officers are still behaving like what is called as the colonial rulers. There is a system in the Indian police service called whereby a boy service is system. A boy service, which is also called as an orderly. Orderly means the IPS officers will use the constables, newly recruited constables, as their personal servants to get things done at their home, including washing their clothes. And so this is the practice called as the orderly. So therefore there is a need for ending this practice of orderly, and not only ending the practice of orderly, but also ending the practice of IPS to be replaced with a new police mechanism. Because IPS is an all India service recruited by the union government and are under the control of the union government regarding their cadre. Cadre management of the IPS is under the Home Ministry. So the state government is not adequately having control over the IPS. So there is also a demand for replacing the IPS with a new mechanism. State police should be completely recruited by the state government only. So to make it more accountable. So that is how new reforms are required in the Indian police to replace the British legacy, the 160-year-old British legacy. So tomorrow.